And let's continue with our 6 lies about the founding of America, with a special look as far as who discovered America. And big idea, Columbus didn't discover America, Vikings versus Indians or Native Americans. The myth. America was discovered in 1492 because Europeans were starting to get curious about the world. Thanks to the Renaissance and Enlightenment and Europeans and yeah, why not? And it's, as always, more complicated than simple, Columbus was first. Here's what we know. A bunch of Vikings were able to go from Viking land, Denmark, Sweden, all that, and set up a successful colony in Greenland that lasts about 500 years, 982 to around 1500. They go from Iceland and set that up, and they move on to Greenland and set that up. And they spend a good portion of that time sending out expeditions to try to settle what is known as Vinland, which historians now believe was the east coast of Native America, or North America. A vineland because, well, there was vines that had grapes. And from grapes they can make wine, which is going to be pretty fantastic for Vikings who enjoy wine. And so there are some theories that the Vikings were able to go as far south as modern-day North Carolina, based on some of the berries that were native to North Carolina but have been found in other Viking settlements. So that's the best theory we have right now, is that these berries were taken from North Carolina and all the way up, or possibly traded, but somehow the Vikings are getting North Carolina berries. And so let's figure out what's next. As far as what they're able to go from Europe to Iceland to Greenland, it's not crazy to think that, yeah, they can keep going to move into Canada, from Canada even further. And so it's a family business from Eric the Red, who goes on to Leif Erikson and is able to settle North America around the year 1005. And so Leif Erikson lands with livestock, like cows, pigs, and such, and they have 100 to 300 settlers, and they set up their colony right around in Newfoundland, modern day, to a place called modern-day Lonsall Meadows, what they were calling Vinland or Vineland because there were grapes there. And they start to build up their village. It's not huge, with only 100 to 300 people, but after 2 years they're kicked out by what they call the Skraelings, which were likely natives. And the settlement is abandoned. They run away to Greenland and they run back to Europe. And the only evidence we have for this for a long time is the Scandinavian saga, a long story and song that they would sing about finding Vineland and then running away because they were beaten by the Skraelings. For the next 1,000 years, that's the only evidence we had, was a song. And then we started to trace the song and try to figure out, where is Vinland, and look for it more. And in 1963, we found the evidence. We found one of these early villages in Vineland built by the Vikings, and this is an example of one of these pictures to kind of show what it looks like. And as recently as 2 years ago, we found a second one, so we're digging these things up still today. Now, because the Vikings were first, well, they didn't really tell anybody how to get there, how to survive in America, so the story just kind of died out as just a myth. But there are other possible pre-contacts that we're still finding evidence for. And some have strong evidence, some have weak evidence, but as we get more evidence, we may change our opinion as far as who was first. Obviously, those living here are first, but spreading the information, that's what we're trying to figure out. Who was able to tell the rest? Polynesia's got some pretty strong evidence. Some sweet potatoes from America have been found in Polynesia before European contact. Americans are the only ones coming up with potatoes, naturally. And then we're finding them in islands in the Pacific. There are some language similarities, but the best evidence right now is we're finding genetic markers that are similar, especially as the Polynesians are pretty good at sailing. Very good astronomers are able to sail all the way from Hawaii and all across Polynesia, all the way to Easter Island, which is not too far from Argentina. So it wouldn't be crazy to think that they can go from Easter Island to Argentina and continue. And so the genetic markers are really strong evidence at this point. Other theories that we're still working on. China, there's some pottery that's very similar to Peruvian pottery in China. Zheng He or Cheng Ho was able to create a massive fleet much larger than Columbus, a massive exploration crew that went all across the Indian Ocean, and some theories say that he was able to go as far as California, so it is possible, and we're still digging up the evidence on that, though. Another theory, a little weaker here, is the Olmec mask in the corner there, right here, has some facial features that might look Asian, so that's their evidence at this point. Egypt, both the Incans and the Egyptians practiced mummification in similar techniques, and we found some evidence of coca, like coca leaves, which is very popular in South America, and tobacco in Egypt. So there's some evidence there. There's possibility that they were able to learn these techniques and possibly trade somehow across the ocean. The Japanese, there's Japanese-style pottery in Ecuador, and we can look at, again, more of these pottery styles and artistic styles. That's some light evidence, at least. More different claims. There are Arabic claims as far as a story of reaching an unknown region, but again, the Vikings were just a story. Semitic regions, or so the 12 tribes of Israel, that we've had some inscriptions found, and it's part of the LDS faith, and so we've found some evidence there. The Irish also have a story in the picture here of a monk's tale from the 6th century that was able to cross the ocean and meet other people on the other side of the ocean. Again, another story. Romans, we have this piece of pottery that looks very Roman and European in its features that has been found in Brazil and Mexico, and so possibly Roman traders are able to cross the ocean. African trade networks, possibly African explorers, maybe, and that the Olmec head, we theorize that it has many facial features that look African. And so we're still digging around. The evidence isn't strong here, but we wouldn't discount anything because we thought the Vikings was just a story. So these are kind of the big ideas as far as who was first. Well, we know Columbus wasn't first, natives were here first, but as far as spreading the information, we have strong evidence, Vikings, lighter evidence we have for Polynesians, but there are certainly other possibilities as far as contact, not discovery, but contact with the Americas, and we're still finding and still going through the information on this.